How can I help you today, bro?
Yeah, so to be fair, mate, it's like I've been like, listen, I first bought a flat in what this was when I was 20. I'm 41 now. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I just never did anything with it. Like, I
yeah,
just rent out, if I'm being honest with you. Never did anything with it. Never took money out. Never did anything, whatever.
yeah, yeah.
And then it's sort of like the past year or so, I sort of come to a realization of what am I doing? Like, my day job pays well. I'm not going to try and sit and chat shit. I do all right, yeah, in regards to that. But I'm okay, but I'm not where I want to be. Do you understand
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the quickest way to get there, and that isn't obviously my day job. So basically, my day job is a bailiff, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm self-employed. I work when I want, but the difference is I have to go out to work. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
So
cool.
if I don't go out to work, I don't get paid.
Yeah, yeah,
It's as simple as that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and that's the thing of again, like you said, when you get older, when my missus settle down, stuff like I want to travel, I want to do this, I want to do that, and yeah, I've got money in the bank to do it, but it ain't gonna last very long if I start doing it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
So it's
Of
about
course.
building that, building an income and whatnot. So it's kind of two angles here.
Mm-hmm.
So where I'm at the moment
Yep.
is I'm just in the process of just finishing off a remortgage. Yeah, so I have quite a lot, a big lump. So that's going to be about 100 and something grand. Yeah, which I have to play with. Yeah.
Yep.
First question is, I guess, what would your suggestion be in regards to how to use it? I've got an
Mm-hmm.
idea in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, was my job can be very stressful, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I've always been looking to replace it, but the problem is I earn good money doing what I'm doing. So to replace it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I mean? So that's where maybe like the rent to rent things which I've seen and stuff like that, that
Yeah, yeah.
may be an angle. So it's kind of both ways I'm hitting you, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, bro. I mean, like, if you get 100 out, just off the bat, I would say the bulk of that is good to put into buy to lets.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you said 90 of it into free houses,
And where would you suggest that be?
anywhere northeast, northwest, over in Wales, somewhere where you're going to get a good return, a good rental income
Yeah.
against the mortgage. So about 100 grand houses are going to rent for 700 quid a month, 750.
Yep.
Mortgages should be around 300 quid. You should make around 350 per house
Yep. Okay. Yep.
after all your bills. Yeah.
Yep.
That's going to create immediately like 1100 quid passive for you straight away.
Yep.
And then the other 5 to 10 grand, if you manage to get the full 100, then you could start a rent to rent business with that. Typically a rent to rent deal is going to cost you around 5 to 6 grand to get started.
Uh-huh.
And they can make you anywhere from 900 to 2 grand a month, depending on how you rent it out and the size of the building, you know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So you could start a rent to rent business with that excess and use the bulk of that money to buy free houses, and they're going to go up in value over time. Expected returns over the next sort of 4 years on Savills, we're talking about sort of 30% appreciation in some parts of the country, like northeast,
Okay.
northwest. So if you put 30 grand in on each one, it's quite likely they're going to go up by 25, 30 grand in 4 years' time, you know. So
Yeah.
those three houses could easily turn into six houses in by 2028, you know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And then that 1,100 pound passive turns into 1,200 or 2,400 as time goes on. Rents go up, interest rates creep down, margins get a bit bigger,
Yeah.
and before you know you got two and a half coming in passive from those investments that you made initially, and your rent to rent
Mm-hmm.
business could be thriving. You know, like I only started with around 6 grand in my rent to rent business and kept saving the profit and putting it into a next one and rolling it on. And by the time you get to four or five of those, you know, each one of those could be making you a grand each. So that could be another 5 grand coming in from five rent to rent properties as well, you know.
How quick? And I'm not going back to the conversation we were talking about the kids. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but time frame wise. So obviously the buy to let is what it is. That's just
Yeah.
however long it takes you to
Straightforward.
purchase. Yeah. Yeah. That's that. In your opinion,
Yeah.
would you? So obviously explaining where I'm at and what I kind of want to do. Would you, if you was me, what would you do?
Well,
I know it's a very but I'm saying based on results. I don't want to keep knocking doors every single day of my life. Like
Yeah.
as I said, it becomes quite strenuous to do so. So what would you
Yeah.
do if you was
I'd invest the money so that I don't have to knock doors every day.
in everything and what you're saying? So in both, you're saying.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I've done. I mean, I've got my portfolio of buy-to-lets. They pay me enough so I don't need to work.
Hmm.
I've got my rent-to-rent business. That pays me so I don't really need to work. I've got a lettings manager that does most of the liaising with the tenants and stuff. So that's pretty much taken care of. I don't really do that much work really. I just make content nowadays really. Um,
Yeah, no, I hear that, bro.
tra-
I hear that. I
travel
hear that.
travel around. So I don't see why it couldn't work for you. The capital there. You
Yeah,
could good at communicating. You can pitch something to someone with me in your corner. I don't see how you can really fail at it. Do you know what I mean? It's just a case of sticking to it, committing to it, and putting most of that money into investments that are going to pay you and go up over time, build your wealth. Like I said, put 90 into free houses, and then put the 10 into starting your rent to rent business. Build it on the side of what you're doing. Don't quit the day job until you've got your first couple deals. And then got a couple deals paying you £800-900 a month each one. Got a couple grand coming in. You've got your buy to lets rented out. You'll be making the best part of 3-4 grand, and you can maybe start to think about getting off the tools. You know what I mean? And then from there, it's
yeah,
only going to grow.
yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that. I hear that. I hear that.
You got to
Okay,
make the money
okay.
work for you. Do you know what I mean? If you don't make the money work for you, then you're going to be working for the money, ain't you? Basically.
Yeah, for sure. For the rest of your life as well.
Yeah.
No, I get it. No, I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
So
I get it.
you get it, bro. That's what I'll do. That would be my advice anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 And you're saying just back to the buy to let. You're saying 100K property should be giving you roughly about £700 per month. Yeah,
Yeah,
roughly.
yeah. I mean, they're not necessarily everywhere. You got to dig
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
and look.
Hmm.
Something that we could help you with. But anywhere between, I'm buying anything between sort of 100 to 150 max is where the sort of limit I go to. Uh,
Hmm.
and if it's higher end, closer to 150, you're going to get sort of 900, 1,000, 900,000 pound a month, 1,100, depending on where it is. I've just done one with a lady in Nottingham. She's bought for 145, and she's getting, I think, 950 rent, and
Hmm.
the mortgage is like 370 or something like that on an interest only. So she's making like 450, something like that. Um,
Right. Okay.
so some good returns. You know what I mean, in those types of areas. Yeah, it just depends. I think the average that you should be aiming for is around sort of 350 where you want to be at per month, but there are some opportunities where you can make 400, 420, 450. You only need a
Yeah.
few and you're in a good position. Do you know what I mean? If you can get the money into a simple buy to let that's going to be pretty much ready to go, and maybe you do a lick of paint here and there and tie it up a little bit, get it on the market, get it making money, chances are it's going to go up in value in about a year's time, and maybe even you could refinance in a year's time, 18 months, and pull some money out of it and go again. I find that to be quicker than adding value. I've got friends that do adding value in London and adding rooms and things, but unless you've got a build team there and you trust them and you know them well, I just
Yeah.
find the sort of 6 to 8 months, sometimes longer, of going through that process. It's quicker for me to just make 30 grand and buy an house and rent it out.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I get that. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. I hear that.
It's down to you, bro. But I would advise you to just go and buy some buy-to-lets. I think it's quicker than adding value personally.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You get a
Okay. Well,
better return on your money.
yeah, no, I hear that. I hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100 grand house down in Wales. I'm renting for 750.
Yeah.
Mortgages are like 200 quid, 220. So
Okay. Even
it's
even now, as we're talking now, yeah.
yeah. At the minute, obviously I get quite good interest rates, but like, yeah, that's where we're at the moment. I've got one that's 220. I've just got another one that's gone through that's going to be 193 a month
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
95 grand house.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I've got to put a bit of paint and decoration in there and tidy it up a little bit, but I mean, it's going to cost me 5 grand max to make it look a bit nicer.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. 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 And do you
and
have people down there to do the bits and bobs for
yeah,
you?
yeah. I've got people down there that we've built over the years. We've
Yeah.
been working down there 7 years now, so we've got some good tradesmen we've got in the team now that do bits and bobs for us. So yeah, bro, it's a good place to invest. But similarly, there's places in northeast, northwest that you can get similar returns as well. Maybe just a slightly bit more expensive than Wales.
Yeah. 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 The only, do
So
you know, the only thing is in my head is the accessibility of it. World is weird, or I'm this way anyway. Do you
yeah,
understand what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's it's closer, isn't it? So if you need to jump
Yeah,
on a motorway, you can jump on a motorway. Not too
yeah,
much, not
yeah.
too
But
much drama.
ultimately, you shouldn't really need to that much, with buy to
No, I
let.
get that.
Once
Yeah,
they're tenanted, you might need to go down there once, twice a year, if that. I've got people that can do bits and bobs, bit of maintenance here and there if need be. So you shouldn't really need to go
yeah,
there much. Get a good
yeah.
tenant there.
And
I've got
regards to finding a tenant, where do you get your tenant from? Do you have
yeah,
a letting agent?
so the rent to rent business is a management company. It's like a lettings agency. So
Okay,
we do that process for ourselves.
okay.
We've got like doctors, nurses, people like that in the houses at the moment. We only sort of choose those types of high paying professional sort of tenants at the minute.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And they're pretty consistent with the rental income. Haven't had any issues with those types of tenants. So
Yeah,
sometimes we furnish the houses and rent them like with all the bills included to like those sorts of people that are coming for 6 months, 8 months,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
get a bit more income rather than just the traditional tenancy.
You find that's more beneficial doing that, or with the change around as well? Then you feel there's like
Yeah,
any lags?
yeah. Well, I don't mind the lag because I'd rather a little couple weeks here and there of it empty and then someone paying a bit more when they do go in, rather than getting someone who's gonna use the new renters right builders coming in and not pay rent and then I can't get them out because they're on like a normal AST contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
When I furnish it and set the bills up, they're not really on a long-term contract. It might be like a 1 month rolling and it turns into 6 months. But I'd rather have it back for a couple of weeks and get someone else in there than stick someone in there and they can't pay. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, I'm not getting no rent for 4 to 6 months and I've got to play by the rules. Sometimes people book on booking.com, Airbnb. There's no contract when they book on those platforms because it's like a hotel, isn't it? It's like they're
Yeah, 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 yeah,
coming to stay for a certain amount of time and then they leave. So
yeah.
there's no like real tie to the property. They haven't paid a huge deposit. We don't charge deposits. So
Yeah.
they're not tied into it. They don't see it as a home. It's more of a place for them to stay while they're working in that area, type of thing.
And there's enough of them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's loads of people like that. Yeah, anyone who's coming, a lot of people like redevelopments that are happening in Wales, people that are working away from home, doctors that are getting relocated to hospitals from different areas that are only there for 6 months. They need somewhere to stay, and normally it's their boss that pays for their accommodation as well. So it's not even coming out of their pocket; it's coming from their employer.
But all right, cool, man. Well, yeah, good to catch up, mate. But yeah,
Yeah,
listen,
yeah,
definitely when I get back, we'll touch base when I come back.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Enjoy your break, bro, and I'll
Cool,
catch
my
up in
man.
a few weeks, man.
No worries, brother. Cool,
Take
my
care,
man.
bro.
Take care.
Take
See ya.
care.
Bye bye.
Bye, bye.